So tonight we're down here in the barn, getting a little bit of break from the heat, just getting under some shade. Whenever I was on the highway today, the thermometer on my motorcycle said 98 degrees, so we're trying to stay out of the sun as much as possible. So we're down here in the barn tonight. We're going to do some maintenance on the mower. I need to change all the fluids and filters on it, so we're going to get started on that. The Hydros, this is their very first service at 50 hours. They're a 200-hour interval, but they say to change the very first fluid and filters at 50 hours. I guess from the factory, all those gears are getting their tolerance is worn in, so any metal shavings, dirt, things like that are going to be in this first hydraulic fluid change. This is actually about the third time I've changed the oil. I do that about every, it said to do the first time at 20 hours. I did it again at 40. Now this is a 50-hour service, but I'm going to go ahead and do everything all at 50 hours. New air filters, new spark plug, new fuel filter, just the works on the mower. I'm also going to pull the blades off and sharpen those if I've got time. So to put the hydro gears in neutral, you pull up on this lever right here and put it into the neutral position. So that right there should allow the mower to move freely once we do it on both sides. So lift straight up and put it into the neutral position. So now the mower should move back and forth in the neutral position. And what that's going to allow us to do is drain the hydros, and when we fill them back up, we can purge all the air out of the lines without the hydros being engaged. Just really helps in reducing the wear and tear on the hydros once we get everything filled back up. So to get to the hydro filters, you got to remove the filter cover, and so there are 3 3/8 inch nuts to get that off, and then we can unthread that filter by hand, and then there should be a drain plug on the inside of the hydro. So, as soon as I pull that filter off, the fluid's going to start draining, so I'm going to get a pan to put under here before that happens. So since there are 2 pumps and 1 reservoir, and the reservoir resides on the left-hand side of the mower as you're looking at it, I'm going to put 2 pans under each pump, and I'm going to put the larger one on the left-hand side because the reservoir is over here. It's going to drain more into this one, and then once it gets completely drained out, we'll get the filters put back on and get it topped back off. So on each one of these hydros, at the very top is a vent plug. Whenever you pull the filter off, it's just barely going to start dribbling out of there, but as soon as you crack this vent plug loose, it's actually going to introduce air into the system, and it's all going to come draining out much quicker. So I'm going to get a pan under here, crack that vent plug, and then we'll unscrew this filter and get it really starting to drain. So while those hydros are draining, I'm going to go ahead and do the rest of the tune-up. They do sell these convenient little Kawasaki tune-up kits, and since this is a Kawasaki FX series engine, it'll say it's for the FX651, 691, and 730 carbureted engines, which this one is the 730, 23.5 horsepower, and it's going to come with your air filter, an oil change, a spark plug, a fuel filter, and just everything that you need to do to do a full, like an annual tune-up. And this kit I think is about 90 bucks on Amazon. The Hydrogear oil change was a little bit more, just because of the grade of the filters and the fluids that come with it. But You can do a full tune-up on this Kawasaki engine and these hydros for about 200 bucks. So this is a very clever design on these FX series engines. So you've got your traditional outer paper filter, collects most of your debris. I don't know what these filter down to, but I would say that it's probably somewhere in the 20 to 25 micron range. And then inside of that is this purple filter or blue filter. I don't know, I wouldn't even begin to guess how fine this thing filters, but the mere fact that you've got two separate stages of filtration, this trapping the first layer of debris and this inside of this filter to trap even more debris, just gonna protect that engine even more. Really prolong the life of that engine. So really clever design. I like this setup. Again, this air filter, I'm probably changing it prematurely because it's only got about 50 hours on it. But I am always one who, this is cheap insurance right here. So you can pick this filter up on Amazon for about 30 bucks and then the inside filter for another 15 or so. Or in this package, it comes both of them inside the kit. SCAG also recommends that you open up these little covers every 50 hours or so, blow all the debris out of there. So I'm gonna go ahead and open this guy up and blow it out. This kit also comes with 2 spark plugs, obviously on a V-twin, and a new oil filter, along with 2 quarts of 10W40. They actually had me break this engine in with 30 weight oil, but I'm gonna switch over to what the Kawasaki manual recommends now.
So we are still dripping a little bit out of those hydros, so I'm just gonna let them keep draining, try to get as much of that old fluid out as possible. I'm gonna go ahead and crack the drain plug loose on the oil, which is right here, and it drains out underneath right through that little hole right there. So
I believe my hydros have drained out just about as much fluid as they're going to drain. So I'm going to go ahead and put the filters back on, put the covers back on, and we'll get this thing started up, try to get that air purged out of those pumps. So like I said, you can also order these transaxle oil service kits online as well. This one is made by Hydrogear, the same people that make the Hydrogears that are on this tractor. This is for the ZT28, 31, 32, and 3400, which is what we have on our tractor here. So it's going to come with 2 brand new filters, as well as I believe there are 5 quarts of the Hydrogear oil in this box.
it says after you've drained it to wipe off any residual. It also says to apply a thin layer of fluid to the gasket. And then we're going to thread this on and hand tighten it, plus 3/4 of a turn. This kit tells me to break this vent plug loose and insert an adapter that allows me to hook a bottle of their transaxle fluid up to this plug and pump the fluid directly in there. So now it wants me to take this little guy right here and thread it into that vent plug, hook this hose up to this, and this connects onto a quart bottle of their fluid, and then it's a pump, and I can pump the fluid directly into those hydros so that I don't have to wait for gravity to do all the work for me. So this is the setup that they want you to use. We're gonna see how well this actually works. Obviously it's gonna, okay, there we go. Now we're getting some fluid up in there, and I'm assuming it's gonna leave a small amount in the 1 quart container, and we can use that to top off the reservoir whenever we're done, because there will be probably about 12 ounces of fluid in the reservoir. You don't top it off completely. There is a cold line on it. They don't want it to run dry, obviously, but they are going to give you a little bit of reserve in that reservoir. So we'll top that off as soon as I get this all pumped in. Plumbed into the side of that housing, and this tube goes down to this pump on top of this oil bottle, and then I pump until this is gone. So now the instructions say to fill the reservoir to the cold line, which is right down here at the very bottom. But if you can see down in there, there is just ever so slightly, I mean like maybe a couple of tablespoons of fluid coming up through there. So I'm not gonna need to add much to top that off, but we're just gonna put just enough in there, get it started up. I'll run this thing through with the hydros disengaged while everything's in neutral, and then we'll get it started back up. So I was very surprised, especially with the dusty conditions and how much big grass we mow and through the woods and just how dirty it is out here. I was really surprised at how clean everything looked underneath that. So I know it's still relatively low hours, 50 hours on the machine. That's not a lot, but I would have just expected to see it dirty and just scratches and things like that, which I didn't see. I'm not going to have time to sharpen the blades tonight, but those blades that are on it are less than 10 hours old, so I'm just going to leave them be.